fighting is a way of humbling you and keeping you grounded and down to earth. So I'm blessed to come from a small town with a good family and fight in a sport that keeps you on track. So it's nice to get the benefits of time to time, but it's about just a fight game. It's about staying on top, keeping that belt, get a bunch more of them, and a bunch more dollars to go with it.
Lovely. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the answers. That's great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good.
What was that?
What did you say to Chris at the Unstoppable press conference in March?
What did I say to him? Are you talking about the face-off?
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious. I mean, I just went in there and told him what's up. I said, "You're making a bad decision, taking this fight. I think you should turn around and go back to your family."
Feels like the rhetoric's gotten a little heavy between you guys. Why is that?
I think he got real emotional at that time, and I've never said anything but the truth. What I was going to do to Chris, what I did to Chris, and I lived up to everything I said, and I'm going to do it again. It's just there's the belts on the line, and I think he's getting a little emotional without it, and I've kept my cool. I don't really have any ill will. But except for the fact when it's coming to, someone's got to take what I've earned and what I've worked for my whole life. That's when it comes down to it. That's what it is every time. But it's really not. It's not about the man. It's about the obstacle.
There has been one moment that's kind of shifted the tone a little bit for you guys?
Not for me. Okay. Not for me. It's all been pretty cut and dry.
Okay. So would you have stepped in for DC at 197 if you weren't already booked against Chris?
I'm not opposed to doing, super fights, but as long as DC is champion, I'm not going nowhere. Mm-hmm. I'm not going up to salt on his division. It's his thing. So if he retires, the door's open. Mm-hmm. You never know.
So with all the talk of interim fights, title fights, what do you think about those?
I don't know how they make interim title fights every time, a fight falls out, but the guy's got to defend their belt, to a certain extent. But I don't think every fight should be an interim fight. I mean, it's bullshit anyway.
How would you like them to handle it?
You're not a real champ if you're an interim champ. So.
How would you like for them to handle it?
Just make it a fight. Make it a fight. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So do you give DC any ideas or input when he's feuding with Jones at all?
I've already went over that before. I'm not going to get into it. DC's doing his thing.
Okay. Do you expect to face the winner of Jakar and Belfort?
We'll see. We'll see how they perform. I think there's some fighters out there, but I think that's very, very logical fight. As long as they can go out there and perform, it's all about performance.
You were at Dancing with the Stars recently. Whose idea was that?
I had some calls and people asked me to come out and support, and Paige is a nice girl, and it'd be cool to go check it out. It was awesome. Paige put on a great performance. Mark choreographed an amazing dance. I've never seen anything like it. The fight dance. It was a pretty thing to watch.
Last few. What's your reaction to the negotiated settlement between USADA and Romero?
People somehow keep slipping through the cracks no matter what happens, it seems like, right?
Is it a bad precedent, you think?
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'd like to see a clean sport, but we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But it's funny how that can happen. Contaminated supplement. You're responsible for what you put in your body.
Mm-hmm. And last fun one, the presidential primary has been compared to WWE. UFC sometimes has that similarity. Do you see any similarities there between the two?
I mean, I don't know. That's a heavy comparison. Donald Trump's taking the presidential candidacy to a new level, so I'm gonna step off that one.
All right, thanks, Luke.
Luke, you beat Chris pretty handily the first time. What was the motivation for you to take this rematch?
To beat him worse.
Simple as that?
To go out there and put on a performance and stop him, leave no doubt, leave no hope. I don't want anybody even thinking he could compete with me. I don't want anybody in the world thinking they can compete with me. I'm out there to, make a mark and beat these guys like no one else has, and I think I've done that. Everyone I've beaten, I've put on performances that no one can touch. Machida, Bisping, Costa Philippou, I stood up and knocked them out. They knew nobody else would. It's like, and Bisping, I first submit him, knock him out and submit him. Machida, and beat Chris. He's never been beat. So that's what I plan on doing. That's what I want to do. I want to break records in the sport. I want to make my mark, and I have a short window, so I'm looking to stack. as many belts and as many heads and as many chips as possible.
On your appearance on SportsCenter this morning, you said when Chris took you back in the first round, you called that a little bitch move, but I didn't catch why. What made that a little bitch move?
It's a bitch move. I mean, the moment he jumped on my back, I knew I had him. I mean, the one area where he's supposed to be dominant is his wrestling. And for him not to take me down, not to like try to horse me around there and play his wrestling, and him to jump on my back just felt weak. And I could feel like, I was like, as a fighter, when some guy does that, it's just not really, the confidence isn't there. That's how I felt. That's how I engaged and dealt with that situation. And I immediately relaxed and kind of grew confidence from that moment.
Was that the biggest worry going into the fight was his wrestling?
I guess. I mean, to see how strong he would be and what he'd be able to do. I really knew I would control every aspect of the fight. I didn't see him being able to do that. It's a matter of how good he would be on top. I didn't think he would do anything, and then he didn't do anything, But I thought he'd be able to be tougher off the start. I knew I would find the holes and find the openings and expose them. So I just, going through the situation it took, that I went through to get to that fight, I was zapped. I really didn't have enough to have the output and the energy and the strength that I needed. And this time around, I think it's just going to be so one-sided. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to execute. I'm going to put him away real early.
So this fight's going to be your first under California's new weight cutting rules. Have you familiarized yourself with them?
I haven't familiarized too much. I know you have an 18-pound, something like that. Is that what I believe? 18 pounds from, I put on 15 pounds.
Okay.
I don't put on any more than that.
So you don't see any type of drastic change to your approach?
No, I don't do extreme weight cuts. I mean, for as a fighter, 15 pounds is not that much. Sure. I mean, you got 45 pounders cutting 20, 25 pounds. You know what I mean? I'm a bigger man cutting a lot less. People want to look at me like this big, huge guy, but I really don't walk around big. I'm 205 right now.
Sure.
205 pounds. I've been this way for a few weeks now, so I never really range above 210. I'm on my game.
Do you believe weight cutting is the most dangerous part of the sport?
No. Far from. Far from. I think training is the most dangerous part of the sport. I think it's about being conscious in the training room and not getting into brawls, not taking unwarranted punishment. That's where people hurt themselves for the long run, and not only just basic injuries but head injuries. It's like you can't go in there and just get in brawls with your teammates and be specific when you get into the heavier sparring. And be strategic with how you spar.
Speaking of injuries, your camp, you guys,
people want to talk about our camp, you guys. We have the best camp in the world. We have all the top guys. So if anybody gets hurt, it's all gonna come. But people get hurt in every other situation, but they're not all from one big camp like ours. People need to shut up. DC's never missed a fight. I have barely ever missed a fight. When have I had to pull out of a fight? I make these fights, whether I'm injured or not. I'm still fighting. I'm still winning. Doing what I have to do. Kane gets some injuries, but it's people are fighting. I mean, it's just we just come from the top camp in the world with a lot of the top names, and so there's a lot of focus. Anytime someone gets hurt, it's just people want to point the finger. But the thing is, we're the best camp in the world, and we got the best guys, and there's a reason why that's happening.
I was going to say you're actually the only camp that has 2 world champions currently right now. So it's do you think it's a give and take as far as the high level of competition being there, but then because of that, you guys work yourselves pretty hard that these injuries, these things happen?
Yeah, injuries, things happen. We have a high level of competition at the gym, but we all are family and we don't try to hurt each other. Things happen, from time to time, but I don't believe we have a big problem with injuries. I know myself, I know DC, and I know, a lot of guys. They just, you have a couple injuries that plague you. Khabib is sure he's had a couple, and Kane, but the rest of us have been fairly healthy.
Have you spoken to Khabib since yesterday before this appearance yesterday?
I haven't, man. I just caught wind of that this morning. I've been on my own little PR tour, so that's unfortunate. I was really looking forward to that, and Khabib obviously earning his shot at top. Now it's back to where I think he's the uncrowned champ. So I want that guy to have his day too. I love Khabib. He's a very hardworking, dedicated individual, and he's had a rough run. And so we'll see what they come up with, if it makes a fight or not.
Do you think it's warranted that John Jones and OSP are fighting for an interim title?
No.
I think it should just be like a number
I mean, everyone knows John Jones. Why make it an interim title? There's no point. John Jones is John Jones. I mean, he's technically never lost the belt, so what's the point of making an interim title?
What's your take on the interim title, just in any weight class? Are you a fan of it? Does it seem like you are?
I think it's bullshit. I think interim titles are bullshit.
You may have already answered this, but with DC's injury, how has that affected your training?
Hasn't affected my training that much. I mean, we have a lot of guys in the gym, and I work with a lot of people. So DC will do his thing, and sounds like it'll be a short recovery, and it'll be fine. Man, I got Kane's coming back healthy, and we got so many other guys in our gym that I work with. I don't need to. I don't need to work on my wrestling. Weidman's not gonna out wrestle me. We already saw that.
In the first fight, you mentioned that Jacques Ray was probably your toughest fight you've ever had. Is this still true?
I think that given the time frame of where I was in my career and how good I was, I think I was a young kid and off a long layoff, and I don't think I was as refined as I am now. And at the moment, Jacques Ray was the toughest guy. I don't know if he was the toughest guy I've fought, but at the moment, he was. So tough guy, but it'd be a different story this time around. I'd put an ending to that story for sure.
There seems to be more animosity this time around between you and Chris. Is that coming more from his end, or do you think it's the same? It's just acting different?
I think so. I don't think I've changed at all from the first fight. I think I've told exactly what I was going to do, and I went out there and did it. Chris wants to flip the role on me and call me cocky. I said I've never changed my stance on fighting him. I said he was slow. I said he was clumsy, and I said I was going to take advantage of him, and I did. Chris calls me cocky. He was the one speaking about himself in the third person last time around, saying that he couldn't see himself losing to Luke Rockhold. Well, guess what? Oh, I'm going to break you. Guess what? I broke you, Chris. You did lose to Luke Rockhold, and that's what happened. That's what's going to happen again. This time I'm not going to break you. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to finish you, and it's going to be clean. It's going to be painless. Go back home.
Luke, are you concerned at all about the new CSAC weight cutting rules?
No, I don't cut that much weight.
No.
So I mean, it's 18 pounds. You can't put more than 18 pounds on.
No, nothing like that. No, definitive rules. There's going to be testing for hydration on the day of the fight.
Glycogen levels or something like that?
Specific gravity. That's what they're going to be testing for, on the day of the fight.
On the
to
day
make
of
sure
the
that fighters are hydrated going into the cage.
Yeah, I've never had a problem going to the cage. I have a nutritionist that makes sure of that, and I've always felt good going in, even before the IVs. Before I started IVs.
Right.
I did a couple of them for a couple fights.
Weigh-ins are going to be earlier now. They're going to be for this fight. They're going to probably be at 10 a.m. You're going to have the option to do it at 10 a.m. Is that a good thing? Get it out of the way, but instead of at 4 p.m. at 10 a.m. Get out of the way and have more time to rehydrate.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is that what they're doing for this fight?
Mm-hmm. You'll have the option starting at 10 a.m. to do that.
We have the option, so they're not going to actually have a weigh-in?
There's going to be a weigh-in, but it's going to be not the official weigh-in. The official weigh-in is going to be starting at 10 a.m. You come in.
Oh, and then they're going to do a weigh-in later?
And they'll announce this.
We're all bulked up?
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, from media standpoint, it's good too. You're not going to get a drained fighter talking.
Right afterwards.
Yeah, right afterwards, just sucked out.
Right.
Parched.
But more time to rehydrate. So got to be a good thing, right?
I mean, it's fairly good. I think it's for the mental aspect of things. Of that, it's that time where it's just like waiting for the media, everyone to kind of gear up for that stage. So you sit there dehydrated, just waiting for that stage to be built. You know what I mean?
Right,
so being able to go in there and just weigh in, to make weight, weigh in, and get it done. Nobody around. It's a great thing for the fighters. I think it's health-wise, it's a lot better. So I mean, we're not going to sit there drained of the fluid and as it sucks away from your body and your brain. You can put that back in, kind of dehydrate for the least amount of time as possible, I think is key.
California wants to do it even earlier, maybe even like 2-3 days before the fight, have the weigh-in.
I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think that I like that. I don't know if you can stretch. I mean, it's not a horrible idea. I don't know. I got to think about that one, but
Cool.
you might see some people going pretty extreme in that regard.
True.
I don't know, but yeah.
Cool.
I'm
Thanks,
just gonna
man.
get a